Give me your general impression and we'll build on that.
I think the first general thing I'll say about spring ball is I'm impressed, and maybe it's a universal to college football, not just specific to UNLV, but how in practice too, how smooth and efficient a spring practice was. And I was sitting on the sideline watching the practice, and it just it wasn't how I remember spring ball. I remember there being a lot more chaos, a lot more errors, a lot more mistakes. Functionality was just not as smooth. And I think you can contribute a lot of things to that. I think one, you say the access coaches and players have during the offseason now is a lot different than when I played. But two, I think you have a much more mature team that's oriented around football because of the influx of transfers that have played somewhere else, that have played in college before. So the structure and the function of a practice are just more second nature to them at that point when you got a lot more upperclassmen on the roster. So I think that was the first thing that kind of surprised me. I don't know why I had this expectation I was going to go and it's going to be a cluster. Like there's going to be stuff just messing up and errors all over the place, procedural guys going in motion that shouldn't be, all that kind of stuff. It didn't happen. That was number one for me that I noticed. Obviously with UNLV, the size has increased incrementally over the past 4 or 5 years, really. Where just the size of the players, I think now at this point, it's more of a roster deep thing. It's not just one specific guy that stands out. It's like, whoa, the total team size is increased. It wasn't a padded practice that I went to. It was practice number 2 on last Saturday. But you could see some things like the guy's ability to move, to play pitch and catch out there with the quarterbacks and the field guys. So there's some things that make you optimistic. I will say the energy of the practice, and this may be just the energy of Dan Mullen as the coach, is different than the last 2 years. And different isn't, necessarily better or whatever. I'm not trying to say that or make that comparison, but it's just a different energy. I think there's more of a charisma and a different kind of engagement that Dan Mullen and his coaching staff have with the players. That is different, but still, I think, equally as productive in terms of what the players are doing with their buy-in and their efforts and their actions out on the field. So it was a very encouraging first practice of spring for me to go out and watch.